Hey everybody, and welcome to ClausenWorld. Thank you for joining me in the garden today. As the title said, today I am going to show you how I pot up my strawberries. I bought this big pot on clearance about a week ago, and it had a huge hole in the front. I was able to glue some of the pieces that were still inside of the pot to the outside, and I've spray painted all the glue joints that were there so that I've changed the look of the pot a little bit. The pot still has a huge hole in it, but that's okay. It didn't have any holes in the bottom, so I'm going to use this as aeration as well as for drainage. I've placed a fabric weed barrier cloth in the inside, and I'm going to set this up as a hugelkultur pot. So let's get into this strawberry planting, shall we? See how nice and deep this pot is, you guys? It was an amazing find. I know it has a big hole in it, but I'm hoping it's going to give me a nice long life in my garden. So I'm going to start with adding a layer of Twigs. Y'all know I'm thinking about candy, right? I said Twigs. Twigs. Twigs and sticks in the bottom. I collected these from around the yard, the driveway, the front yard primarily. And so I'm just going to put these in here as my base. Just like so. All right, now I'm going to add some leaf mulch that I created, and I hope you guys actually saw me putting that in there, and I did have my back in the frame. Y'all know how I do. I tend to get my body in the shot. My apologies. I changed my mind a little bit. I decided to go and get some toilet paper rolls and some paper towel rolls. And I'm going to place them in here as well. On this level, or this layer, you're supposed to put down compostable material. So I'm just adding this up because I don't want to fill this pot full of soil. The soil level is going to break down over time, and I will be adding to this pot some more, but I do that with my pots and my buckets anyway. At the end of the season, I top them up with compost as well as more soil if needed, and I enrich it. So I'm going to add that. Now over in my bucket that I have over here, you guys know I always have my teal handy dandy bucket around. Let me swing you guys around slowly so that you can see the bucket. There we are. Now in this bucket, I pulled out of my compost can some freshly made compost. I pulled out coconut coir that I broke down with water. I have some perlite, and I have a little bit of fertilizer in here, some plant tone, and so I'm going to mix all these things up. Again, this is compost. This is coconut coir that I broke down with water. I just took the brick, put it in water. I've got a little plant food. I've got some black cow, and I have some perlite. And I'm just mixing this up. Now, I was going to put my leaf mold in the bottom, but instead I decided to put the paper towel and toilet paper rolls because I realized that my compost had a significant amount of leaf matter in it. It wasn't completely broken down, but it's still okay to use. So I'm going to mix this up thoroughly, and I'm going to place that on top of those paper rolls. And you can see that it still has some food that hasn't been already broken down, and it has leaves in it. I even saw an eggshell in there. This is my compost right here that still had, and that looks like a seed from a melon or something, so I'm going to take that out. So this is my compost. So now I'm going to place all of this inside the pot. So let me swing you guys over to the pot so that you guys get a good view of the pot. And I do apologize for my camera skills. I'm not a camera professional. I do the best I can, you guys. This is backyard gardening at its finest. Okay. And so now I'm just going to pour my soil mixture or compost mixture over those rolls. And as you can see, I did not do a very good job of mixing up all the way to the bottom, because that right there, this is my compost that I pulled out of my compost bin. See how lovely that is? You see how you can still see the leaves? They aren't fully composted down, a few other things. And so that I didn't mix up well, but that's okay. Because now I'm just going to, oh, that's a tea bag that didn't break down. See, compost, that's got to go over there. So now what I'm going to do is I actually have a bag of store-bought potted mix. It's for raised beds, it's for pots, and it's just a mix of soil. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to place some of that on top of my compost, because this is what's going to feed the roots of these strawberries. And I'm going to companion plant these strawberries, not today, but as soon as my last frost date is gone and summer is definitely here, I'm going to pot this up with some climbing beans, as well as I may even put some onions in here. It depends on how much space I have once these strawberries really take root. So let me get that bag compost and I'll be right back. Now it's time for the potting soil, and I'll show you guys what that looks like before I put it in the pot. So that's the potting soil, and you can use any kind of potting soil you want. And then I'm just going to top this up with potting soil. And I'm going to leave some space because I'm also going to cover the top of this soil once I plant it up with some wood chip, because I don't want my soil to go dry. I want it to stay as moist as possible. The strawberries. But before we do that, I took the strawberries out of their pouch, and I'm going to just place the soil that was in there in this pot. I don't want to throw away any soil. So I'm just going to place it in the pot, just like that. There we go. Break up any lumps. Spread it out. And you know, it sort of looks like the potting soil that I already had in the pot, except this got perlite in it. Now I'm going to put a little bit of water. Sorry about that, guys. I kicked the camera. I'm going to put some water in here because I want to make sure that I'm potting into a moist medium. There we go. I'm going to let that settle for a little bit. Settle. Hurry up, you guys. I'm so impatient. Okay, the water has settled in. And so now I have my strawberries, and I'm going to place them up here. I put them inside of a little plastic bag with some water to kind of loosen up the soil around the roots. That way when I took them apart, it didn't damage the roots because they're attached by a rubber band. They're clamped by a rubber band. And of course, these are the strawberries that I picked up from the big box store. There you go. And there are two different varieties, a everbearing a June bearing and a Ozark Beauty. And so these are the ones I am planting up today. Now there's supposed to be 10 bare roots in each pouch. And as you can see, they were beginning to come alive inside of the pouch. Can you guys see that? So I'm going to take them out, and hopefully I'm able to separate them without doing any damage. These gloves are not helping me out. All right, let's see. Put this pouch down. Okay, I'm gonna have to move over so I can get at this a little bit easier. You guys can see the rubber band right there. Oh wow, it came off really good. Okay, now, oh no, there's another rubber band. They wanted to make sure that it was secure. I may end up needing to just go and get a pair. Let me get a pair of scissors because I don't want to have to try to take that rubber band off. Life is so much simpler when you are prepared. So I got my scissors and I'm just going to just snip that rubber band. I thought about trying to take it off and save it, but I think that would cause more harm than good. So there you are. All right. So let's get this rubber band out of here. There we go. All right, and I believed in my mind that putting these in water would make them a whole lot simpler to take apart. And so far, I believe my mind did not fail me. I don't know how they, oh, I get it. Here we go. They folded them over like so. There we are. And so I just have to determine which ones. Okay, that looks like one. That looks like that might be dead, but maybe not. There's a tiny bit of life there. So we're gonna put that right there. And I hope you guys can see. I feel like you guys can't see so well. And I hate to, sorry about that, I keep the camera. I hate to stoop over because then I can't see. I'm just not working out really well today, am I? My goodness. This is what happens when you take an amateur and they decide they want to become a YouTube content creator. You never know what's gonna come out. All right, so I'm just trying to gently tease these roots apart. There we go. There we go. I'm just trying to gently tease them apart. Alrighty. I keep knocking. The wind is blowing. I hope you guys can hear me. The wind is blowing and I'm not in a stable place. I need to do better. Sorry guys. The strawberries have all been pulled apart and I've laid them inside of the pot, and now I'm just going to plant them. And with strawberries, you don't bury them all the way down. You bury the roots and that's it. Anything more than that and you could kill your strawberry. So just bury them up to the root, okay? So I'm just going to place them, make a hole, and bury it up to the root. I'm going to show you just a couple times me doing this because I mean this is not rocket science and I know you guys could do this. If I can do it, you can do it. And I know I have a number of new subscribers that have told me that they're brand spanking new to gardening. And I just want to make sure that I'm showing how you can do this. Like I said, if I can do it, you can do it. And I'm just taking these and I'm digging my trowel. I got a long trowel, but I didn't show you guys. Sorry about that. I'm just digging my trowel in there. I'm trying to drop those roots all the way in. And I'm going to firm everything in once I get it planted. So let me get everything planted out and then I'll come back, show you what I've done, and show me firming it in. So let me speed this up because you all don't want to see this. Now, knowing me, I probably did too much. But some of these I'm not 100% certain of because they don't look 100% viable, and I'm not quite sure if they're going to survive. So I am just going to pack it to the best of my ability And I'm gonna have to move this guy down a little bit more because more of his roots are out than I want. And again, I apologize for sniffing. It's cold out, my fingers are cold, and I'm trying to hurry this up because my body does not like the cold. My nose begins to run like within the first 5 minutes of me being outside, and then my hands get cold, and once your hands and feet get cold, it's a wrap, right? All right, guys, I have put these strawberries in the pot. I have firmed them in. I am going to get some mulch, and I'm going to mulch this up so that they are not just hanging out in the elements. But I'm going to water them in first because I want to see whether or not they have the roots are going to be exposed. I did water it, you all saw that. I'm just taking the soil that's around the edge that's kind of sitting up like a lip, and I'm pushing it towards the center of the pot to make sure that the soil is not just sitting there. Now let me get my watering can. I hope you guys can hear me. Like I said, it's windy. I had to take my microphone off because I was having a battery issue with my phone, that is, because I'm videoing on my phone. So I hope you all can hear me. So all right, I have just watered in that soil, and it looks like I've covered up the vast majority of the roots. I have a couple of roots that I can see, so I'm going to go and get a little bit more soil and make sure that I pack it around those roots so those roots are not exposed. And then I'm going to top this off with some wood chip, and I'm going to let you guys see what the final product looks like, so give me just a moment. Okay, here is the finished strawberry pot. Now, I did not put all of the strawberries in here. I put some of the strawberries in here of both varieties that look the strongest. There might be one or two in there that may not make it. I'm hoping it's only one or two, but it'll tell me, it'll show me how it's going to survive. But over here, let's move you guys over here, is my strawberry pot from last year. Now, if you guys haven't seen my previous videos from last year when I first started my YouTube content creating journey, I had one tiny itty bitty strawberry baby in this pot. Well, look at this big boy now. I mean, just full of strawberries. From one strawberry that was in the corner, it filled itself in by giving runners. I was not trying to create this pot for it to give me berries last year. I wanted it to focus on getting stronger, so this year this should give me strawberries. But this is what I want to show you. I placed holes along the sides around this crate, so I cut out 4 sections for additional strawberries, and I popped in 1 strawberry crown for each hole, and the weaker ones I put in this pot. Now this one definitely doesn't look like a weak one, so I've got 2 that look like it's viable and 2 that look like they are very weak and may not survive, but I want to give them a shot anyway, and I'll show you. You can barely see it. It has soil on it because I was pressing soil inside of the hole to make sure that it was surrounded by soil and not just sitting there. Let me put my glove on. Hang on one second. If I would just put 1 finger in each glove hole, finger hole, that would work. All right, so as you can see, I put the soil and I pressed the soil in there, and I've got 1 crown in each one. And so this one doesn't look so great as well. This one looks pretty good, and the other side you can barely see it. It doesn't look like hardly anything, but I wanted to give this a shot. There we are. Oh, this is pretty heavy. You can barely see it. It looks like soil. Are the strawberries ready for spring? They're looking really good. Thanks for watching.